The Adventures of Chorro. An immigrant dog finds life and love in a new land. Okay, first of all, chapter 1 is Finding Chorro. Now, this is the story of a dog from Uruguay called Chorro. This is Uruguay, right? I am from Uruguay, so I am from right here, from Uruguay. My husband, Chuck, who's over there, and I go to Uruguay every year to visit my family. So we travel by plane. So we go all the way from Virginia to Florida and then all the way down to Uruguay once a year, right? It is a very long trip, right? But we go there to visit my family. The day before we found Chorro, Chuck, my husband, who is over there, and I were at a New Year's Eve party and with my family. And it was a warm summer night because in Uruguay, in December and in January, it is summer, right? So my cousins have a dog called Martin. Martin is a very good dog. My cousin Beatriz, over here, was referring to Martin as cachorro, and she kept saying, cachorro, cachorro. And Chuck asked, what does cachorro mean? And Beatriz and I answered, quiere decir perro chico y joven. It means small and young dog. Chuck says, oh, it means puppy. So Chuck learned the Spanish word cachorro. And from the word cachorro comes the name we gave to the puppy we found, Chorro. Now, the name of our dog is Chorro, not churro. Churro is a pastry. It's not churro, it's chorro. Okay, there is little Chorro. We found Chorro in a dune close to the ocean. Okay, there are many ocean beaches and dunes in Uruguay. You see the dunes and the ocean beaches. And this is the map of my country, Uruguay. Now, this is how we found Chorro. We had already been in Uruguay for 2 weeks. And before coming back to the States, Chuck, my cousin Claudia, over there, and my niece Florencia decided to go to a small seaside resort for 3 days, okay? So this is the small seaside resort we decided to go to, and we were in the capital city of Uruguay, in Montevideo, right here. So we drove from Montevideo, the capital city of Uruguay, to Rocha, that is a place in Uruguay where the best beaches of Uruguay are. So we drove to Rocha, see, all of us, the 4 of us. It's okay, Chorro. When we got to Claudia's Rocha summer house, Chuck was very hungry. And he said he wanted to go to a small restaurant to eat empanadas. Empanadas are similar to Hot Pockets, okay? And they're very good. He was hungry, and I don't blame him. I was hungry too. But Claudia wanted to go to the farthest beach. She wanted to walk and walk. You need to walk a lot. You need to go through dunes to get to that beach. So a decision was made. No empanadas. Empanadas for later. Claudia made an executive decision. And empanadas for later, so we started to walk towards Claudia's favorite beach beyond the dune. So we walked and walked and walked. Some of these dunes have small shrubs and some grass and small trees, as you can see in the pictures. This is exactly, well, where we found Chorro. So Claudia, Florencia, Chuck, and I were walking through the dune on our way to the beach when I said, I wonder if there are any bichos in this dune. Bichos means critters in Uruguayan Spanish. And Chuck joked, probably only snakes. Right after Chuck said, probably only snakes, víboras, we heard a rattle noise coming from the shrubs. I screamed. I screamed, thinking it might be a snake. But to our surprise, not a snake appeared. Instead, a cute tiny puppy came out of the shrubs. There was no need to be scared. Chuck immediately remembered the Spanish word he had learned the night before and said, cachorro. Then we all said, es un cachorro, it's a puppy, que lindo, how cute. Then Chuck said, cachorro, cachorro, cachorro. Repeated chorro a few times, and that is how the puppy was named Chorro, from the word cachorro. We thought Cachorro came out of the shrubs when he saw us walking by because he was hoping to find people who would help him. He wanted to find a home. He wanted to find a home and a family. He was right there. He was right there where Chorro came out from when we were walking. We continued our walk to the beach, and Chorro followed us. We thought that he had been abandoned in the dune. He needed a helping hand. The sand was very hot. Poor Chorro fell over because he could not stand it. We had not noticed that it was so hot because we were not barefoot like Chorro. My cousin Claudia picked up Chorro and we all walked to the beach together. We all thought Chorro was so cute. But poor little Chorro was very dirty. He was probably hungry and thirsty too. At the beach, Chuck put Chorro in the shade so he could rest. Then Chuck washed him in the ocean water. Look how very dirty Chorro was when we found him. Chorro was thirsty and probably dehydrated. So I went around asking tourists for fresh water, agua for Chorro, and people wanted to help. A man gave me all he had, orange juice, jugo de naranja. A couple gave me their dog's water. We took Chorro back to the house afterwards, and at the house we fed him. He was very hungry. He ate very fast. Then Chuck gave Chorro a real bath and wrapped him in a blanket. Chuck found many fleas on Chorro. So Claudia, Florencia, and I went to buy flea medicine while Chuck removed some of Chorro's fleas. You see him removing there some of Chorro's fleas? And spend time with him. And spending time with him meant more baths. A dog with fleas in Spanish is pulgas, itches a lot and is not happy. It was January 1st. Most stores closed in Uruguay on January 1st. But finally we found a drugstore open and bought a flea medicine called No Pican. The flea medicine literally means they don't bite. When we got back, Chorro had fallen asleep with Chuck. It was so cute, and we took pictures. Chorro looked so peaceful, and so did Chuck. Living alone in the dune had been dangerous for Chorro. Earlier that day, we had seen a scary animal called lagartija, lizard. Lizards. In the dune, Chorro had to defend himself from lizards, fleas, and other critters. Yeah. Claudia was worried. Look at her worried face. She has 3 other pets, mascotas, and did not want to end up with a 4th one. So I told Claudia that maybe Chuck and I could take Chorro to the United States. She liked that idea. She smiled. Chuck and I decided to adopt Chorro and bring him with us to the United States. Chorro had found a loving home. When Chorro heard this news, he felt so relieved that he slept and was happy, rested and was happy. As Chuck and I were talking one night, I told Chuck that the name he had come up with chorro from cachorro had several other meanings in Spanish. Chorro means water spout. Chorro also means thief in Uruguayan Spanish. Look at the thief. Chorro is indeed a thief. He stole our hearts. Chapter 2, bringing Chorro to the United States. Okay, so now we have to come all the way back from Uruguay, fly to Miami, and from Miami to Virginia. But how were we going to do that? How were we going to, we had to plan how to bring Chorro to the States. So we left Rocha, the small seaside resort. We drove from Rocha back to Montevideo. We were returning to the States on January 4th at night. There was a lot to do in less than a day to make sure Chorro could fly to the States with us. On the way back to Montevideo, capital city of Uruguay, we stopped in another beach and took pictures there. We also got a collar and a leash for Chorro. He was now owned by Chuck and I. We got to Montevideo very late at night. It was after midnight. Although it was very late, everybody wanted to meet Chorro. My cousin Virginia, my other cousin Virginia. Not everyone in Uruguay is called Virginia. It's just an accident. But Claudia's pets, mascotas Pacha, Tristan, and Sofia. Claudia's pets were a little jealous, but everybody got a look. We went to bed late after everyone had met Chorro, and on January 4th, we woke up early to try to figure out everything we needed to do to bring Chorro to the United States. Our plane was scheduled to leave at 11 p.m. This is the airport in Uruguay. We had to be at the airport by 8 p.m. We still had to pack. We had so much to do. First, we took Chorro to the closest veterinarian, half a block from my cousin's house. He confirmed that Chorro was healthy and gave Chorro some vaccines. But he said that to travel to the States, Chorro needed an international pet certificate from a vet licensed to give such certificates. So he gave us the name and addresses of vets who were licensed. We also called American Airlines, and we asked if Chorro could travel with us that day. They said that there was a cancellation of another person traveling with a pet, so Chorro could travel. However, Chorro needed not only the international pet certificate or pet passport, but also other legal documents, other legal paperwork from 2 Uruguayan government offices. And he also needed a ticket to travel, like we all do. Pets also need their pet tickets. So we had all the information we needed. Mission Impossible began. Claudia drove us fast around all Montevideo, the capital city of Uruguay, to several places to get the paperwork done. Chorro and Chuck were in the back of the car. Claudia and I were in the front. We all were a little scared. See Chorro holding on to, Chuck holding on to Chorro so he wouldn't fall because Claudia was driving fast. I never saw Claudia driving so fast in Montevideo. She wanted to help us get all the paperwork done on time so we could travel back to the States with Chorro. Otherwise, Chorro would have stayed with Claudia. She didn't want to have a fourth pet. She's a lawyer. She works very hard. And she has too much going on. So, it felt we were in a race to bring Chorro home to the States. And Claudia was the race car driver. Zoom, 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 zoom. We got it all done. But at the end of the day, even the car was exhausted. So, let's see. Vaccines, check. Passport picture, check. International pet certificate, pet passport, check. Department of Agriculture certificate, check. Department of the Interior certificate, check. Professional stamp, check. Kennel for Chorro's flight, check. So Chuck and I got back to Claudius's house. We did not have too much time left before going to the airport. We packed and we got Chorro ready for the trip. At the airport, the girl at the American Airlines counter told us the computers were not working. So they could not process our credit card. So Chorro was allowed to travel for free. Chorro's ticket was a gift from American Airlines. Mission accomplished. We left to the United States with Chorro on board of the plane. Family and friends came to the airport to say goodbye to Chorro. Chorro had to travel in the luggage compartment. See, poor Chorro. He had to go, pets usually travel in the luggage compartment. So that's where Chorro was during the trip to the States. The first flight was from Montevideo, Uruguay to Miami, Florida. It was a long 12-hour flight. Chorro was scared traveling in the plane's luggage compartment. When we reunited with him in Miami, he was crying, but he stopped crying when he saw us. There is a dog park in the Miami airport, so we took him there. He liked that a lot. We were surprised that there was a dog park in the Miami airport. That was great. Then we flew from Miami to Norfolk, Virginia. It was a shorter flight. When we got to Norfolk, Uncle Randy, who is right here, was waiting for us at the airport. He was surprised and said, "You brought a puppy from Uruguay." He immediately loved Chorro. And he's holding Chorro right now. There's Chorro with him. We then went home and introduced Chorro to his new brothers, Tucker, Raul, and Simon. Chorro now had a mommy, a daddy, an uncle, and 3 brothers. Chorro and his brothers became good friends. Yeah, they play. Look, they sleep together. Chorro sleeps now close to Simon. You know, they play together. Look at little Chorro sleeping next to Tucker. But Tucker deserves a great deal of credit in this story, because we already had Tucker when we found Chorro. We knew that having another dog would only bring more joy and happiness to our home. So there's Tucker with his leather jacket that Uncle Randy made for him, actually. Chorro grew some. He grew fast. Look, already growing. From very little, look there. And he continued growing. He's a happy dog. He's extremely happy we rescued him and we adopted him. Chorro is now full grown and he's taller than Tucker. Chorro learned about snow. He likes snow just like he likes the sand of the Uruguayan dunes. Tucker also likes to play in the snow, so they both like it. Sometimes Chorro plays to be a Martian. Chorro likes to play with the cat. Sometimes he makes them hide. Sometimes he makes them jump on tables. But he always loved them. Chorro's favorite activities are to play ball, to play with his toys, to play with his brothers, to play with friends and family, to run, to go for walks, and last but not least, to eat cookies. Chorro has many friends and family in Virginia. Uncle Randy, Mr. and Mrs. Marra, Alberto and Adrian, Jordan, that is Chuck's daughter, Jamie, Shayna. They love to take care of Chorro. My friend Ross, our friend Ross. Also Findy, a neighbor dog that is friends with Chorro, Jeff, and of course his brothers. Chorro's veterinarian is Dr. Peter Garlick. He's also Tucker's, Raul's, and Simon's doctor, and he's also here today. Chorro likes to see his doctor. When Dr. Garlock met Chorro for the first time, he said something like, I do understand why you brought Chorro back from Uruguay. He's very cute. But before our next trip to Uruguay, he said something like, no more pets from Uruguay this time. Chorro is a Uruguayan and an American. He came to the States as a legal immigrant with all the documents needed and with his pet passport. So, this is the flag of Uruguay and this is the flag of the United States. But see, he has dual citizenship and we are very proud. We both have dual citizenship, Chorro and Ana. Chorro understands English and Spanish. Sometimes he understands Spanish better. I'm proud that Chorro is Uruguayan and American like me. We sometimes ask ourselves, where did Chorro come from? Was he abandoned in the Dune? Was he lost where we found him? Did Chorro really emerge from the Dune? He's the color of sand. Is Chorro really made of sand and salt water? We do not have those answers. We only know that one day we found a treasure in a Uruguayan dune. We found Chorro. We adopted him and we gave him a family. And he made our lives fuller and happier. We love you, Chorro. The end. For now. Thank you. It's the end for now because more stories of Chorro are going to be available. So this is the precursor to the book that